I'm Oz.
And I'm Susie.
And we're at the beautiful Pig at Combe.
And we're here because we're doing the Wine Alive Christmas Sipping Series.
And it's pretty chilly outside.
It is.
So we've come indoors at the Folly to take the chill out of Chile with some wonderful reds.
So, Oz, Chile, a subject very dear to your heart.
Very.
And I'm a huge fan too.
Yeah.
But, I mean, at Christmas, can you do any better?
I just think that if you don't know much about red wine and you just thought, I just want one piece of advice, what kind of red wine to buy for Christmas, I would say go and buy a Chilean red. Don't buy the cheapest one. Buy one a little more expensive. It doesn't have to be a lot of money. Between 10 and 15 pounds will get you all kinds of stuff. Chile absolutely delivers nice, tasty flavours, lots and lots of fruit, not too many hard edges, really, really good stuff.
Really lovable. And I totally agree that there is some very cheap Chilean wine on the shelves.
Yeah.
Go one notch up at least because it's Christmas.
Yeah.
And the value for money at that bit above is terrific, isn't it?
I think price-quality ratio, how much you
Best.
pay to how much flavour you get in your mouth, Chile's hard to beat.
Yeah. So let's get down to the specifics. We've got 3 here from the wonderful winery Montes, which we're both really know well, old friends. I mean, impressive over so many decades. But they're not one of the big traditional historic Chilean wineries, are they?
No, they're in a way a brand new winery. They only started 30-something years ago.
Yeah, which is nothing.
When, to be honest, Chilean wine 30-something years ago wasn't very good. And Montes came along and said, we know that Chile's got the vineyards, we can make modern wine.
They could see it.
And they used to come to England and say, what do you guys want to drink? We can make it for you in Chile.
And they did it.
And they did it, particularly with red wine. So let's take the first one.
Let's get going. I mean, it's Christmas. I want a red wine in my glass. And I do think for a lot of people who don't drink red wine generally, they do want one at Christmas. You know, let's face it, there's some quite rich dishes coming out, cheese boards as well as all the meats. So some people are going, where do I start?
And they were always told in the old days, oh, it's Christmas, you've got to drink Bordeaux, you've got to drink Burgundy. Well, honestly, no, you don't.
And it's scary, some of the prices.
And one of the things you want to do at Christmas is to make sure that everyone around the table is happy. So don't get something which is too aggressive, too assertive, or too expensive. Just get lots of bottles of something which is nice
my goodness,
to drink.
That is good.
Now,
I mean, that's got the lovely, lovely richness that I want at this time of year. There's a bit of Christmas spicing going on in there too. But it's not, as you mentioned, it's not tough. It's rounded, it's inviting, it's generous.
But it's really satisfying, isn't it?
So where does it come from?
Now, this
in Chile?
The most important thing is the grape variety.
Okay.
The grape variety is a grape variety called Carmenère. Now, you might think, oh, God, is that? Do I know that? Do I know that? Well, honestly, every time you go in and look at the Chilean section, you will see this grape called Carmenère there, Carmenère. And it's a grape which was, it's an old grape which they thought was extinct. They sort of rediscovered it about 30 years ago when they were making these wonderfully spicy red wines. Nobody knew what they were. But they actually used to call them Merlot. They said, oh, Merlot, that's an easy word, we'll call them Merlot. They weren't Merlot at all. They were this grape called Carmenère, and spicy, deep, full of dark, slightly sort of Loganberry, raspberry kind of
And I
fruit.
say Christmas spices, I get cinnamon, clove, nutmeg, sometimes from Carmenère, that kind of thing. And apart from Christmas, and you might like a curry at Christmas, but I have had great success with Chilean Carmenère and lamb Rogan Josh. You know, lovely, lovely Indian tomato and pepper based spice dishes, delicious.
Yeah. What about those day or two after Christmas when you start to think, okay, there's still a lot of turkey left over, something like that. Let's make a curry.
Or everyone's still around. We're having chili con carne or something like that. It goes with spicy food really well. But it's terrific, I think, as a grape variety. And what I love is the Chileans made it their own. They said, okay, we didn't realise we had this in our vineyards. Now we do. What are we going to do with it? We're going to make brilliant wines out of it. So Chilean Carmenère was on the map.
And they could have apologised for it and said, I'm terribly sorry, we've made a mistake. We'll rip it all up. We'll put Merlot in. Thank goodness it didn't. The world has enough Merlot. It doesn't have enough Carmenère. And I think this Montes, they're a fabulous bunch at Montes. The guy who started the company still runs it. And they've set out to please what they say, the export market. In other words, you and me and all of us. Us in Europe, in Northern Europe, they'd made wines to please us.
Wow. So this has got a bit of oak aging, which is adding to the spiciness, I think. So there's a little bit of white pepper going on in there. French barrels for 50% in French barrels for 12 months, the rest not.
But not too
blended
much time.
together, so not too oaky and not too heavy, not too tannic, which I think puts a lot of people off.
Yeah.
It's really, really lovely.
I think a lot of people have got tired of too much oak, too much thick clagginess in the mouth, because the thing about oak is if you put the wine in an oak barrel for too long, it does two things. It draws out a sort of vanilla-y richness from the oak, but it also draws out tannic bitterness. The resins in the oak are quite bitter. So if you do it for too long, the wine gets dried out. They haven't done it for too long. They just added a little bit of slightly fudgy, I think slightly sort of rum and raisin fudge kind of thing.
Even
just a
something
little
like
bit.
that.
Yeah,
no, it's really good, and I love that spiciness at this time of year. I know lots of people say all wines are for all times of year. Carmenère for me is winter wine. I just love it.
Yeah, me too. Well, let's
lamb tagine. Let's not forget that. Sorry, lamb tagine and Carmenère.
Any of those
really
meals
really
which
good.
have got sweetness in them. And,
sweetness and spice.
Yeah, sweetness
Carmenère.
and spice.
Carmenère,
Really
believe me.
Okay, let's have
That's
another
delicious.
one.
Right, yeah. Now, this one, I know the Montes Alpha. It's a famous one. I don't know this one. Tell me about it, because you've been to Chile a lot more than me.
Well, recently I've been a couple of times, and I must admit, I'm so delighted to get there again.
You were there this year?
I was there this year, and it's
wow.
an amazing country. I went to the Atacama Desert in the north and saw a vineyard there, which it hadn't rained for 50 years, and in some parts of the Atacama Desert, it's never rained.
So irrigation?
Irrigation from a really salty river, so they have to irrigate with salt water. It's bizarre.
I mean, I know vines are meant to suffer to produce good wine, but that's taking
They
it
were suffering.
quite far.
These straggly little wines are sitting like this saying, oh God, life's tough, but giving small amounts of intensely flavoured grapes.
Yeah.
I then went right the way down to the south, to Patagonia.
Hang on, north to south, how many miles?
I reckon north to south, I travelled about 2,000 miles, but it's
crazy.
about 3,500 miles. And they say that the vineyards, the commercial vineyards, people making money out of them, 1,500 miles of Chile has got vineyards.
Wow. I mean, long, thin country. And wine being made really far north and really far south.
Nearly 2,500 miles between mad people at the top and mad people at the bottom growing grapes.
Sensible people in the middle.
France, from Calais to the Spanish border, is only 440 miles.
Is it?
And this is 1,500 miles of commercial vineyards.
So never let anyone say all Chilean wine tastes the same, because you've got those microclimates all the way through that remarkable north-south
So you're
distance.
going from the Arctic Circle to the Sahara Desert in one country. It's an amazing...
Now so this is called Outer Limits, picking up on that theme. Why?
Montes, because Montes are always innovating. They're one of these companies that always wants to say, what can we do differently? What can we do more? Outer Limits means let's go out to places where people didn't grow grapes. They didn't think it would work.
Okay.
Now, above all, it's a white wine label, because they were the ones who pushed right out to the coast. And the coast of Chile has got an icy cold current running up from the Antarctic, which means the closer you get to the coast, the colder it gets. The colder it gets, the fresher it gets, because the sun's going to shine anyway. But it gets really, really fresh. So the Outer Limits, things like Sauvignon Blanc Outer Limits, are smashing. But they've also said, what about the other grapes? And
there's several grapes in this one.
This one's got three different grapes.
Carignan, Grenache and Mourvèdre, so very Rhone, south of France.
It's as though they'd gone to the Rhone Valley in France and said, we can use some of those grapes as well. These are the kind of grapes that traditionally in Chile they'd have said, oh, we're not interested. Well, Montes says, why not? They're fantastic grapes. There's loads of old Carignan in Chile. Nobody thought it was any good.
They just used it for basic stuff.
Making brandy, making any old stuff, And yet, old Carignan's a fantastic grape. Mourvèdre's a fantastic grape. What's the third one? Grenache. Grenache is a fantastic grape. They've put them all together here and swirled them around. Now, this is the sort of vaguely like what would happen in Châteauneuf-du-Pape.
I was going to say, this is Rhône.
The southern Rhône area is where they've got lots of different grape varieties, led by Grenache there. But Mourvèdre and Grenache, they're really important grapes. And they mix them together. And the most famous wine down there is Châteauneuf-du-Pape, which is a fantastic, rich red wine from the south of France. But it's expensive.
Indeed.
And this one here comes from an area called Apalta. And you remember Chile's in the southern hemisphere, so if you have your vineyards facing north, they get loads of sun.
Yeah.
And therefore they ripen really easily. Well, well done Montes again said, hang on, we've got too much sun. We haven't got enough, we've got too much.
So you don't want it to be jammy?
No, because they've got a vineyard, the Apalta vineyard, faces south. And the sun is over there, so it gets less sun.
So you get an elegant, restrained style.
Get an elegant restraint, and it's up the mountain. So again, same old thing. Here we go, up the mountain. You get cool breezes, and it's colder, fresher, colder up the mountain. Lots of sunshine, so you ripen as much as you want.
Really well balanced.
That's
so
the
not
mountain.
jammy, not too rich, not tannic, but lovely, lovely, rounded, balanced. I mean, so many Christmas dishes would go with that, wouldn't they? So forget that we've done the spice.
Yep.
I want my rib of beef. Lots of people have rib of beef for Christmas.
Yeah.
That's going to be terrific with that. And just all the casseroles, all those stews that you make through the entire festive season.
Isn't it lovely that almost red curranty, cranberry-ish kind of acidity running through?
Yeah.
And that's what's fabulous about the Carignan grape. The Carignan grape has got high acidity.
Yeah.
And a lot of other red grapes in sunny areas lose acidity. Well, the Carignan doesn't. It just says, you're not going to get me to lose my acidity.
But what's brilliant is Carignan was a workhorse grape.
Workhorse grape, yeah.
Right, I think we need to move on to number 3. Oh, wow. Okay, so Purple Angel.
Oh, this is
again.
Back to your friend, the Carmenère.
Yeah, Carmenère again. And this is another wine that has, a lot of status behind it, I think. Look at the colour of that. That's like ink. Don't wear a white top when you pour this wine. Brilliant.
That's why they call it purple. And there's the angel holding.
And there's the splashes.
Done by me? No, not.
No.
But there's the glass of wine. There's the grapes. And it's just Montes saying, we've started with the Montes Alpha saying we make really good Carmenère.
Yeah.
And then they said, no, we can do better.
Colour of it.
We can get even deeper wine.
So intense.
And it's deeper, it's more perfumed, it's more sensuous. But it's not any more difficult to drink.
And it's 92% Carmenère, 8% Petit Verdot, which I think the Bordeaux winemakers use almost like spice, like salt and pepper, don't they?
2 or
So
3%.
Yeah, and this is 8%. So and French oak barrels for 18 months.
Do you get that slight, almost fresh peppercorn kind of smell?
Oh yeah, definitely pepper.
And the thing about Petit Verdot as well, it sometimes gives you a slightly violety kind of flavour.
And
that's a lovely smell.
Blueberry, you're absolutely right, cracked black pepper. And this is really, really intense, but it's also balanced and fresh. That's amazing wine. That's pretty serious stuff.
And by the way, it is richer. It is weightier in the mouth. It has spent more time in oak barrels. And it has got some of that spice, some of that vanilla coming out of the wood. So I would say, if you just wanted a really bright and breezy Carmenère, that Alpha is tremendous. But if you wanted a really proper, serious, special bottle, this one.
Decant it to open it up.
2 or 3 hours.
Leg of lamb.
Leg of lamb.
That do you?
Rib of beef.
Christmas. Wow. Well done, Chile.
Well done, Chile. This is just one of our Wine Alive Christmas Sipping Series videos with me, Oz Clarke, and my mate, Susy Atkins. If you'd like to know more about the wines we've tasted, head over to our blog at wine-alive.com and check out other episodes. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Thanks again for watching, and we hope you sip splendidly this Christmas.